They laughed when she ripped my painting apart. Right there, in front of everyone. Brittany Carter, prom queen, honor student, untouchable. She said I cheated. She said a girl like me couldn't possibly win. And when the crowd believed her, something inside me burned. They thought they broke me. They thought I'd disappear. But what they didn't know, you don't burn a phoenix. You just make her rise. Maya Thompson stared at the canvas in her tiny bedroom, brushes scattered like fallen soldiers across the floor. Her favorite music played softly, but it didn't block out the memory of the whispers in the hallways. Did she really paint that herself? Probably got someone to help. The words had chased her for weeks. She tightened her grip on the brush. Painting was the only place that made sense. The outside world was chaotic, cruel, and impossible to understand, but the paint obeyed her hands. Her grandmother, sitting in the worn armchair by the window, watched silently. "They can't survive exposure," she murmured, turning a page in her old, faded journal. Maya didn't look up. She didn't need to. That phrase would become her mantra, though she didn't know it yet. Westbrook High was the kind of school that posted "Diversity Matters" posters on the walls and still whispered behind closed doors. Maya walked through the hallways, sketchbook clutched to her chest. Students passed, heads down, phones out, pretending not to notice. Then came Brittany Carter, blonde, perfect, untouchable, prom queen, honor student, cheer captain, the kind of girl everyone admired or feared. "You really think you belong here?" Brittany's voice was honeyed venom. "National Youth Vision Art Competition, huh? Cute." Maya didn't respond. She had learned long ago that arguing was pointless. Brittany thrived on attention, and silence was a weapon she was learning to wield. The National Youth Vision Art Competition was Maya's dream. She had poured months into her painting, unbreakable, a black girl standing in fire, rising. Every stroke told a story of pain, strength, and defiance. Winning should have been enough, but Brittany's eyes burned with something Maya couldn't name: jealousy, envy, fear. "You cheated," Brittany whispered later in front of a group of students. "My cousins saw you tracing references online." Gasps, whispers. The moment her painting was torn from its display, Maya felt her heart splinter. That night, Maya sat on her bed, sketchbook open, tears streaking her cheeks. She cried until 2:13 a.m. Then the fire started. If they wanted a villain, she'd give them something better. She wouldn't disappear. She wouldn't break. She started painting again, but this time it wasn't for awards. It wasn't for teachers or classmates. It was for herself, and for every voice silenced by fear, gossip, or cruelty. Jasmine, Maya's only true friend, leaned over her shoulder. "You have to post it," she said, nodding at the new painting, a golden girl standing over ashes shaped like a crown. Maya hesitated, but finally uploaded it. @Phoenix Rising Art. Within 48 hours, 50,000 views. Hundreds of messages poured in. "Thank you. This is my story too. I'm being bullied right now." The account exploded. Maya's art became louder, bolder. Each piece was a challenge, each brushstroke a defiance. By the following Monday, Westbrook High felt smaller somehow. Every hallway, every locker, every corner seemed to echo with whispers about the torn painting. Maya moved through it with practiced calm, but inside her mind was racing. She had promised herself she wouldn't react, that she would rise above. Yet Brittany was everywhere, smiling at teachers, waving at classmates, performing the perfect cheer routine for anyone watching. The contrast between their worlds, the untouchable and the silenced, made Maya's chest tighten. During lunch, Jasmine slid a note across the table. "Check the DMs. Someone from another school just reached out. They saw your post. They get it. Maya opened her phone. A message from an anonymous follower. You're not alone. Brittany Carter isn't the only one who thinks they can control us. For the first time in weeks, Maya smiled. The fire wasn't just inside her anymore, it was spreading. Maya poured herself into her art like never before. Each painting was more than color on canvas. It was a story, a scream, a truth. One night, she painted a blonde girl wearing a cracked porcelain mask. The smile was perfect, the eyes terrified. Maya didn't name her in the caption. She didn't need to. "Who is this about?" came the first comment. "Looks like Brittany Carter." It was everywhere. Students started noticing, whispering, sharing. Even the other schools caught wind of the account. By the next week, @Phoenix Rising Art had over 100,000 followers. Messages poured in, stories of bullying, harassment, isolation. And Maya read every one. She saved screenshots, she gathered evidence, not for revenge, but for justice. Maya began connecting the dots. Screenshots of DMs, voice notes, testimonies from students too afraid to speak publicly. Names, dates, events, it all pointed to Brittany Carter. The temptation to publicly call her out was strong, but Maya knew that would make her look like the bully, not the truth seeker. She wanted exposure, not chaos. Her grandmother noticed the shift in Maya. "You're growing stronger, but remember, power without control is just anger. Channel it." Maya nodded, understanding that this was bigger than her. This was for every silent victim, every stolen dream. @Phoenix Rising Art became more than Maya's escape. It became a movement. Students from other schools began sending her their stories. Artists, writers, and even teachers reached out, offering support and sharing evidence. The tension at Westbrook High grew. Brittany could feel the shift, though she didn't know why. People who had once laughed with her now looked away when she walked past. Whispers followed her, but this time they weren't admiration, they were doubt, suspicion. For the first time, Brittany felt uneasy. Her cheer squad avoided eye contact. Teachers seemed hesitant to call on her in class. The same school that had elevated her above everyone else was slowly shifting its attention elsewhere. She didn't know why, but she sensed a storm coming, and for the first time, Brittany wondered, could someone actually expose her? Maya's room became a war room of creativity. Every canvas, every brushstroke was a strategy. The largest piece, an installation for the gallery's center wall, was nearly 4 feet tall. It depicted a porcelain queen seated on a throne of broken paintbrushes, surrounded by ashes shaped like crowns. Every night Maya worked wait, often losing track of time. Jasmine would bring snacks and encourage her, but Maya was focused. Her art had to speak louder than words, louder than Brimmy's lies. Every detail mattered, remembered her grandmother. Symbols, composition, light, the story must hit them before they can turn away. Maya nodded, feeling the weight of every story she'd collected. This was not just her fight. This was justice for everyone who had been silenced. As word spread about the gallery, more students began reaching out. Some had been bullied by Brittany directly. Others had witnessed her cruelty. One by one, they offered anonymous testimonies, photos, screenshots, even short video clips. Maya organized everything meticulously, planning to display them digitally in the gallery. Each piece would be verified but anonymous, forming a narrative too strong to ignore. Jasmine grinned at her. "You've started a movement without even leaving your bedroom." Maya smiled faintly. "It's bigger than me now. It has to be." The week before the gallery, tensions ran high. Brittany tried to maintain her composure, but the cracks were showing. She confronted Maya in the hallway, voice low, face pale. "Why are you doing this?" she demanded. "It's just high school, just art. Just me and you." Maya looked her in the eye. "It's not about you. It's about truth, about everyone you've silenced. You built power on fear. That power ends now." Brittany didn't reply. She left, trembling slightly, and for the first time, she felt powerless. Meanwhile, Maya's anonymous account had reached 500,000 followers. Fans and victims alike speculated about the upcoming gallery, and the school buzzed with curiosity, rumors, and unease. The night before the gallery, Maya couldn't sleep. She walked through her room, looking at each painting, each sketch, each note. Everything was perfect. Composition, lighting, symbolism. Every piece told a story. Every story built a case, and every case revealed the truth. Her grandmother placed a hand on her shoulder. "Remember, fire doesn't just burn, it illuminates. Show them the light, Maya." Maya nodded. She felt a calm determination. Tomorrow she would no longer be silent. Tomorrow she would rise. Outside, Brittany paced in her room, rehearsing excuses and defenses, unaware that the walls of her carefully constructed world were about to crumble. The Community Arts Center buzzed with energy. Parents, students, local bloggers, and reporters crowded into the gallery, the smell of fresh paint mixed with anticipation. Maya stood at the entrance, dressed simply, her heart pounding. Jasmine gave her a reassuring nod. "You're ready. They're ready to listen." The first visitors moved through the exhibits. Paintings depicting courage, resilience, and truth lined the walls. Digital screens displayed anonymous testimonies from students, meticulously verified but without names. Each story connected back to patterns of bullying, behavior that had gone unchecked for years. And there it was, the centerpiece, the porcelain queen on her throne of broken brushes. Silence fell. The weight of the story struck every viewer. Halfway through the evening, Brittany arrived, prom queen, flawless, but now visibly uneasy. She moved through the gallery, forcing a smile, but her eyes betrayed her fear. Visitors whispered, pointing subtly. Screens displayed evidence she had never anticipated being public. Comments from anonymous victims flashed across the walls. The audience saw what Brittany had done, not rumors, but documented patterns of cruelty, sabotage, and manipulation. Brittany's perfectly rehearsed defenses faltered. She tried to speak, but the words caught in her throat. For the first time, she was powerless in front of a crowd that no longer admired her, one that finally saw her for what she truly was. Maya stepped forward to the microphone. Her hands didn't shake. Her voice was steady, powerful. For years, students have been silenced because the popular kids decide who matters. Tonight, we stop protecting bullies. She gestured to the paintings, the projections, the testimonies. Every piece told the same story. Brittany Carter had wielded fear as a weapon. Patterns were undeniable, evidence meticulous, silence shattered. The audience gasped, murmured, whispered. Phones recorded everything. Parents shook their heads. Teachers exchanged looks of disbelief. Students who had once feared Brittany now felt empowered. After the speeches and applause died down, Brittany approached Maya outside, away from the crowd. No audience, no crown, just a scared girl finally seeing herself clearly. "Why did you do this?" Brittany asked, voice trembling. "Why not just leave me alone?" Maya looked at her, calm, resolute. "You did this. You built power on hurting others. I didn't ruin your life. I forced you to face it." Brittany's shoulders slumped. Tears formed in her eyes. For the first time, she wasn't the untouchable queen. She was just a human, flawed, exposed, accountable. Months later, @Phoenix Rising Art hit 1 million followers.
Maya was invited to speak at anti-bullying conferences. Scholarship offers arrived. Her art multiplied, inspiring countless students. The same school that had escorted her out now invited her to headline their diversity summit. Standing on the gym stage where she had once been humiliated, Maya realized the power had shifted. Students, teachers, parents, all were finally listening. And Brittany? She sat quietly in the audience. No crown, no applause, just the truth she had to face. Maya smiled. Revenge isn't always destruction. Sometimes it's revelation. When they tried to burn her, she didn't become ashes, she became fire. After the gallery, Maya began receiving letters, emails, and DMs from students nationwide. Some had never spoken up about bullying before, others had suffered in silence for years. Each story inspired her new artwork. One painting depicted a girl trapped inside a glass cage, reaching for a sky painted with hands of encouragement. Another showed a boy standing atop broken stairs, labeled with every cruel word he had heard. Maya realized her art could amplify voices, not just hers. Every piece was now a testament to resilience. At home, Maya's grandmother pulled her aside. "You've grown stronger than I imagined," she said, her eyes glistening. "But strength without compassion can hurt too. Remember to lead with both." Maya reflected on her journey. She thought of the tears shed, the hours spent perfecting paintings, the whispered doubts in school hallways. She realized that her fight wasn't just about Brittany, it was about creating space for everyone who had been silenced. Brittany struggled with isolation. Her friends drifted away. Teachers watched her closely. Even at home, she felt the weight of exposure. For the first time, she questioned herself. Every act of cruelty she had committed replayed in her mind. It was uncomfortable, painful, but necessary. Brittany's character was starting to evolve, making her eventual confrontation with Maya more meaningful. At Westbrook High School, discussions about bullying became more open. Teachers began holding workshops. Students started anonymous reporting. The administration realized that silence and protection of the popular students had caused harm for years. Maya's influence extended beyond her artwork. She became a symbol of courage, showing that exposing injustice could empower others without attacking personally. Maya visited the place where the National Youth Vision Art Competition had been held. Memories of Brittany tearing her painting flooded back. Instead of anger, she felt calm. That moment had been the spark that ignited the phoenix inside her. She realized her past humiliation had fueled not revenge, but transformation. Maya decided to host a traveling gallery. Every city she visited brought new stories, new art pieces, and new supporters. She met students who had never painted before. She encouraged them to express their struggles, to rise from their own ashes. The movement became bigger than social media. It became real, tangible, unstoppable. Maya learned that leading a movement wasn't easy. Some students resisted, some doubted her, and some tried to undermine the message. But she handled it with patience. Every challenge became a lesson in diplomacy, empathy, and strategy. She learned that power came not from fear, but from trust and inspiration. Months later, Brittany requested a meeting with Maya. No cameras, no audience, just two young women in a quiet cafe. "I've changed," Brittany said hesitantly. I see what I did." Maya studied her, seeing fear, guilt, and genuine reflection. "Change is good," she replied softly. "But remember, it's not enough to feel remorse. You have to act differently from now on." Brittany nodded, tears forming again. This wasn't just a confrontation, it was closure. Maya's work began influencing other schools and organizations. She spoke at panels, hosted workshops, and collaborated with anti-bullying organizations. Her artwork became a bridge between victims and allies. Every painting told a story that words alone couldn't capture. Her impact rippled across communities, inspiring new leaders to speak up. At Phoenix Rising, art continued to grow. Students, parents, and educators posted their own stories, creating a network of support and awareness. Even celebrities and artists noticed, amplifying her message further. Maya's account had started as a single act of defiance. It had become a movement. Westbrook High invited Maya to headline their diversity summit. Standing on the same gym stage where she had once been humiliated, she addressed students, parents, and teachers. Her speech was both personal and universal, about courage, truth, and the power of rising from adversity. Applause erupted, standing ovations followed, and tears were shed by those who had been silenced for too long. Maya reflected on the journey. Every insult, every tear, every brushstroke had shaped her. She realized revenge wasn't destruction, it was revelation, empowerment, and transformation. She saw Brittany in the audience, quiet and humbled. The queen of the school had lost her crown, but Maya had gained something far greater: influence, purpose, and fire. Maya began mentoring younger artists, encouraging them to find their voice. She curated exhibitions, workshops, and online tutorials. Her art wasn't just hers anymore. It was a platform for hundreds, then thousands. Every painting told a story. Every brushstroke was a declaration. Voices silenced could still be heard. Ashes could still become fire. Maya traveled to other states, speaking at schools, conferences, and galleries. Every city brought new stories, new students, and new inspiration. She realized that her journey had transformed her from a bullied teen to a leader, activist, and artist with a voice that couldn't be ignored. Maya stood in her studio, looking at her newest piece, a phoenix soaring above broken chains. She smiled, thinking of every student she had helped, every story she had amplified, and every injustice exposed. She thought back to Brittany, to the gallery, to the moments of despair that had sparked her rise. When they tried to burn her, she hadn't turned to ashes. She had become fire. And now, that fire would light the way for countless others.